What is up, guys? Man, it has been a while, huh? Yeah, we just got busy this summer. We had a couple weekends in a row where we took this thing out. We went to Eastern Washington, checked out, we went to my family's cabin there on the lake, and spent a couple days there, and then went to a wedding of relatives. The very next weekend, we went to Above and Beyond. We took this thing to the gorge, which was awesome. Used our bed. We have a mattress now and stuff. I've emptied it out because we got to get back to building. Allison will be back soon. She's going to finish up the insulation. We've got more wool to put in. We've got some more ISO board to put on. Hopefully this is our ceiling. Hopefully we can get our ceiling and our lights strung. We've got a lot of big plans this weekend, so we're really going to grind. Right now I'm starting to build a box. I'm going to box the wheel well in, mostly so that I can build a battery bank and compartment there and use the walls of the wheel well box to attach a lot of the components to and save space. So here we go. So I just got done reading all about this Craig jig and how to use it. I've never done any cabinetry before, but I'm trying to build the box for the wheel well, and then I got to make some cabinets. So it's pretty simple and really cool little tool. I just read it. Basically, there's two different measurements. You have to measure how far up the wood you place this based on how thick this piece is, and then you also have to measure how far back you put this piece on here. You just tighten it with a little Allen wrench for how thick the piece that you're screwing into is. So I'm gonna set that all up and give it a go. Let's see how it goes. There we go. Now I can use this to screw right into here, and it'll go through and into the next piece of wood. Allison's back and doing the insulation again. Working on some 2-inch insulation board that's going to go around that window area. Use a new power tool today. Trying to make the walls for all the cabinets and stuff, we want really straight edges, and I did not want to use the jigsaw for all of that. So bought a new tool, using a new tool should make cutting out all these square shapes much easier. So. Alright, so here we go, day 2 of this nice long weekend. Here's kind of what I was working on yesterday. The weather started to get kind of bad, so I didn't record a lot. Hi, Storm. Anyway, I'm building this box. This side piece I'm working on right here. I'm gonna put my little distribution panel in this side wheel well area. However, when I was just fitting it, the back presses too close against this for me to get a couple cords in there. I don't need much space, I just need a tiny bit. So what I'm gonna do is I think I'm gonna add a little frame around the outside here that'll give me maybe a 1/4 inch or a 1/2 inch more, and then screw that through. So it'll stick out just a tiny bit, but where it's gonna be at back here, it's not gonna be an issue. This way, if I ever need to get back to the fuses or anything, I can crawl back here. I could empty out the back area and then crawl back here and access it, but it's still kind of out of the way. And then my batteries will go there. I'll probably keep that far side open so I can run the cords and stuff, but that'll all be covered and hidden when the bench and stuff is built. So that's where we're at. That's what we're starting with. If I can get that done, then I can build the box for the batteries and secure those down. Once I know where the batteries are at, the distribution box is at, I'll add a couple more pieces and start wiring it together. So let's go. So here's why we did that. So if you see, you can see it's a little extra thick right here. I added this extra plate. From the back, it's a little dark, but it's really tight back there. I think I have enough room now, which is great. The main concern I had before was this plug right here for my 120 volt. I wasn't able to plug anything in before. Now I can still plug something in right there, and then I still have access to a decent amount of holes on that backside for the 12 volt, and the 12 volt cords are really small. So I think this will work. I'm gonna go ahead and glue this on now, and then I'll sand it all up, get it looking all pretty before we actually mount this thing. I'll probably run the wires first too, just to make sure they all do fit. Then we'll screw it on. One thing I want to mention, and I think I've said this before, is this is the second time now where I put a lot of time into trying to research and like think in my head about what I'm gonna do to make this work, and it wasn't until I actually came out here and started messing with stuff and I had all the wood that I needed. I went to Home Depot, just bought tons of wood. Like once I had those things, it was much easier for me to start formulating a plan. Like every few minutes I'm out here thinking of things and starting to work on things, and it helps me think of something else to do. So I can't stress enough, just sometimes if you're feeling like you're hitting a spot where you just need some motivation or something, just get to work. Just go out there and start doing stuff. It sounds so weird and it sounds so simple, but it really has made a lot of difference in my stress and my planning. I've come up with some really good ideas. Like yesterday's, I already showed you guys, but this distribution panel is going to go nicely just right in here. And I didn't even think of that until after I'd built that box. Otherwise, I could have built the box slightly further out, which means I wouldn't have had to use that little spacer that I added. But adding the spacer saves me the rest of the space, because if I moved that whole box out 2 inches, I lose 2 inches the whole way there instead of just adding a little spacer. So it worked, and it works out, and it's just me going with the flow and just going out there and doing it without an actual real plan. So just do it. Alright, so we got lots of our toys out here now, just trying to do some sizing up and figuring. Look at that monster, by the way. I do not think I needed that big a one, but it came with the bundle. Nice thing is, we'll probably use it in the future when we do some off-grid house building or like tiny home building or something, so this will last a long time, but man, it takes up some space. I think it's gonna go there. So I'm starting to frame out what will be a bench, but also house this, and then the electrical equipment will be behind it. So this, you'll see there will be a post here. This wall fits perfectly nice, and it'll be flush against this, which will be nice. Make that take up that space, but also be a good place for me in here to mount some of the electrical equipment, things like my bus bars or something. I'm also going to put another piece of 3/4 inch ply or whatever size it is. It's like 18/32 or some, I don't know. I'm going to put it right here so that there's another big piece and it's all flush right here and can use all that space for mounting. The distribution panel will go there. I might even put, I'm not sure, there's obviously lots of room to work with there. I might put a small wall over here. Still in the process, but for now I'm going to start framing out this bench because I know the size of that I want, and as I get through it I'm sure I'll come up with more ideas. So as the story goes with van life, you start one project and a million other things come up. So I wanted to get the bench built, but I need to finish I can't put the bottom of the bench in until I get the slides in that are going to be for the drawer, because otherwise it'll be really hard to add them later. So now I've got to build the drawer for the fridge. That way I can put the slides on the bottom of the bench, that way I can finish the bench. The start of day 3 of working on the van. Measure twice, cut once. Unfortunately, this cabinet here that I built, this drawer, is a little bit longer than I wanted. I meant to cut it down. I'm gonna unscrew that handle so it'll fit, but I need to make it just slightly smaller so that I can still put a brace for the battery and have it fit here. So that's the distance that it's too long. I can make it fit. Luckily, it only took me like 20 minutes to do. One sec, I'll show you. Now remember, this is the first drawer I've ever made. It's not that great, but I got some extra clamps that I'm going to use. I'm going to rebuild it and I'm going to make it better. And yeah, so that's job 1, rebuild the drawer. Today we're going to try and finish the drawer, get the benches in, strap down the battery, get it locked in. We've started running some wire yesterday. We got our, over there you can see the solar panel wiring. We're gonna try and get that stuff plugged in today, get some of this other stuff over here. So big day. Hopefully also putting in the ceiling and the lights, because all of our insulation on the roof is now done. So yeah, big day. Already feeling much better about the start of this second box. I did buy some nice long clamps, totally worth it, helped hold them in. Just like everything with van life so far, when you first start working on a new project or trying a new skill, you learn so much in that first attempt. So my advice would be, if you can, do a practice run of almost everything, because you will learn so fast at first. See, I purposely left the pencil there so I can sand it to get the perfect snug fit. So I'll sand that down or maybe jigsaw some of it, but I'm gonna make sure it fits perfect this time. Alright, so first time making a drawer. I was super nervous about this part. Honestly, I've been anticipating this all since yesterday when I tried to create version 1, which I've showed you guys. I don't know if this is a great way to test it, but we're going to test it this way anyway. We have actually already tested it and it works, so go ahead, Allison. Got our slide out for our fridge. Seems to be good. Go ahead and push it in. Seems smooth right now, so hopefully it'll continue to work. So now that we got that done, I can put up the frame around this thing, and I didn't want to do that first without testing the drawer slides, because it was really difficult. It would be really difficult to get in there. So now that I've got this done, I can build the bench, which means I can finish the electrical stuff. So back to the beginning, finally. Trying to build the top pieces here. I've got a bunch of the legs going. These are going to flip upside down and go on top here. Feeling a little nervous about all of this right now. I'd never built drawers or cabinets or anything before. Not sure the right way to do it. I'm sure this isn't it. There really was not a lot of good material on YouTube that I could find on how to build these specifically for vans, at least. I also just didn't do a ton of research, so saw a lot of Instagram photos and other people's photos and stuff of what it looked like, and I'm just kind of trying to replicate it. But I'll show you guys what it's gonna look like here in a second, so wish me luck. All these projects are finally coming to fruition. Here's what this is looking like. Slides out, just barely too, just like a 1/4 inch off the ground, which is really tough to do. Slides in, bam.